Hey guys, how's it going? Max here. In this video I'm going to demonstrate and show you guys how to use all the new features that have been added to Mr. Lowe's Bitmex tool since the original installation video. I'm not going to go over installing it again because you can go check out that video and you'll know how to install it. Again, big thanks to Mr. Lowe for making this amazing tool. To get the tool, go to twitch.tv/CryptoTradersTV, become a tier 3 sub. You also get many other benefits to other tools and channels, chart channels, stuff to help you with your trading. Go check it out even if you're not going to become a tier 3 sub, if you haven't already, if you're not coming from Twitch. And so let's get into the video. Alright, so there's been a ton of really cool features that have been added since the original video. Let's start off with the top here. As you can see, all the balance is now in dollar value as well as in Bitcoin value. You also have the 24-hour volume for Bitmex, which is just below 2.8 billion today. Shows the funding rate for Bitcoin, the funding rate for ETH. Also here is latest prices. Now this is really helpful for when you're putting in a trade and you want to know the current price of that instrument. It's right here, latest prices. Also really helps for, say, for example, I was doing a ladder order on Tron and I wanted to put in the start price here, but I didn't know the number of decimal places. You can just copy it over, paste it in, and then there you go, you got the prices, and you change the last part and you copy over to end price 2. Also, the ladder orders, for the ladder orders, you now can calculate the trade based on risk. So you'll base this risk off the percentage of risk you want to do of your account. So for my account, it's 0.42. So for example, let's do a trade using 1% risk on Bitcoin. So the current price on Bitcoin is 84.55. Let's do start price of 8,400 and end price of 8,300 with a stop loss at 82.40. And for the number of orders, let's do 8 orders. And so yeah, 1% of our account, risking 1% of our account. So once our stop loss, or if our stop loss got triggered, then we would lose 1% of our account. So we'll go to press buy and we'll take us to the confirmation page. So the amount of contracts is 2,630. You can see here we're risking 1% of the account. And also the risk including $50 of slippage would be 1.46. So if we got really, really bad slippage. So I'm happy with all this. Let's put it on Bitmex too, so you guys can see. Another feature, well, a big change that's been added is rather than putting in each order through individually, all the orders go through in the same order block, as Mr. Lowe described to me. So it basically just means the whole thing is insanely fast compared to the original version. So I'm gonna hit buy button here. I'll show you guys how quick it is now. There you go. See, it puts it all in at the same time, and I've got my ladder set up here. Alright, so now let's go through trade setups. So trade setups will place entry, stop loss, and use stop limits to trigger profit targets. The reason it uses stop limits to trigger profit targets is so that it will only put in the profit targets once your position has been filled. So here at the top here we have the pair, so you can select which pair you want to put the trade on, the leverage again, the price, so the entry price, and again you can choose risk or amount, whether you want to select the amount of contracts or let the tool calculate the amount based on the risk of your total, to do with your total margin, related to your total margin. So at the top here on the first line you have first, second and third PT close. This is the amount of your position you want to close at your first profit target, second profit target and third profit target. Obviously here, so this adds up to 75%, so we'd have 25% left over as a runner, or set a target later on. So you can change these as you want, as long as it doesn't add up to over 100, then you're good. So on the second line here, this is the percentage ROE you want to take your first, second and third PT. You can also select this at the top here, and this will change it to, so you choose the price rather than the ROE. And you can also mix and match, but if you put something in here, it will override the ROE. You can also then select if you want it to be a market order. If you select this, then the price doesn't matter because you're marketing in, and then your stop loss, and this is just a price, not like an offset. So let's do an example trade. We'll do it again on Bitcoin, the price. We'll do a short this time. So say we want to get short at 88.50. Risk, we'll do 1.5% of the account, so 1.5% of our total margin. We'll keep this closing the same amount, close 25% at each one of our PTs. Although we're going to mix up. So for the first profit target, we'll do 8,500 as our first profit target. Second PT we're going to leave as an ROE, but actually I'm going to put it at 50% ROE. And for our third profit target, we'll do a value again, and we'll do say 7,500. And for a stop loss, let's do 89.20 for example. So let's press sell, and we'll take us to the confirmation page. So the number of contracts is 7105. Entry is 8850, so 89.20. The risk is 0.0063, which is 1.5% account. Perfect. Again, not including fees and slippage. So I'm happy with all this, so I'm going to switch it over to the Bitmex page and hit sell here. So you can see they put in our order. So we have our stop loss and our stop limits on top of our fill, so that once we get filled, it will trigger our profit targets. And if you want to check the exact value of each profit target, you can go to stops and look at our stop limits, and you'll be able to see. So we see there's my 7,500 profit target, there's my 8,500, and there's my 50% ROE at 84.8. Okay, so let's go back to the tool. Alright, next is presets, but I'm going to cover this towards the end of the video, as a lot of it is customizable using the config file. So then is calculate risk. This isn't for putting in any orders, this is just for calculating the max number of contracts, or how many contracts am I using, is that the correct risk for my account. So let's do something different. Let's use ETH. I want to risk 2% of my account, keep the leverage at 10, but my entry is going to be 150 with a stop loss at 144. Let's hit buy here, and it'll tell me the max number of contracts I can use. So risk is 2% of my account. Here's my account balance, and the max number of contracts I can use is 1400 for this trade. There we go. So, and then you can change it around if you want on that page. Okay, next, this is a sort of a quick, easy way of putting in, any type of order. You have limit best. We'll cover this in a sec. This is the addition to the tool. Compared to last time, market, stop, and then you can select reduce only or close on trigger. So here it says market order, limit best, ignores price. What this means is when you're using limit best or market, it doesn't matter what price is in, it can be any number, anything, it doesn't matter, because you're using limit best or market. I'll get limit best in a second. Stop order ignores side. What this means is if you're using a stop loss, it doesn't matter if you hit sell or buy, it doesn't matter what the side is, but use negative amount for long position. So, but for when you're using a stop loss for a long position, put a negative in front of the amount. And the reason for this is when you're getting stopped out of a long, you're selling, you're not buying, essentially. So what's limit best? Limit best essentially means it will put a limit order to the front of the queue. So it's like trying to get, so you're just trying to get you filled, but without marketing. So I think the best way is to show you guys. So I'll leave the price as whatever, because it doesn't matter. Let's put in 90 contracts, and let's put it over to Bitmex so you guys can see. So watching the order book, when I hit buy here, it should put me to the front of the buy side. There we go, just like that, instantly I'm on the front of the buy side. Now let's say I want to do the same thing, 90 contracts, but I want to be in front of the sell side. So I select limit best again, select sell. There we go, I'm at the front of the sell side too. So let's say I wanted to remove these orders. How do I go about doing that? Well, at the top here we have filled orders, open orders, wallet history, trade setup, stop loss mover. I'll get into this in a second. Go to open orders. We can see our orders in here. We can edit them. We can cancel them. So we want to close all positions for each pair as well. You can change that. So close all orders for pair. Select yes. There we go. Give us this text here. Okay, so looks like we actually got filled on the short sell here. So say if I wanted to close this trade, I'm like market close it right now, close the position, go to confirm, hit yes, and then submit. So then we market close that order. There we got filled on. There we go. Okay, now we're going to go over stop loss mover and the config file. So open up in your www root folder where you save the tool, find config, let's open that up. So we'll go through config first. So at the top here, so you put in your API key and secret key. I will delete the key after the video. This is where you update the futures once they roll over. Stop loss mover equals 1. This is for enabling or disabling the stop loss mover, which you can see here. To show the stop loss mover, once you have it enabled, you can click it here. So this enables and disables it. To show it as default, so you don't have to click it, it will always be there after you refresh. You set that as 1, which we're going to leave for now because we're going to be using the stop loss mover in a bit. Trade setup equals 1, risk calculate equals 1. So we're enabling, disabling trade setups and calculate risk. Ladder amount, ladder confirmation. This is if you want confirmation page. If you just want to skip the confirmation page, you can set this to 0. Ladder amount 5,000. This is the default ladder amount. Acceptable risk. This is the acceptable risk you set. I recommend keeping this 2% or below. The tool will tell you if you're over your acceptable risk and won't let you put in a trade. But you can go to the confirmation page and actually override that if you want to. Margin override equals 0. Margin amount equals 0.5. So margin override, this is 0 means it's disabled and not enabled. If you want to enable it, you set as 1, and then you put in the amount here. So when you would use this is, say you have 3 Bitmex accounts, you know, a long, short, a scalp, and they all have 0.5 Bitcoin in. So the total is 1.5 Bitcoin, and you want to calculate your risk based on that 1.5 Bitcoin rather than the 0.5 Bitcoin in each account. So then you would enable it, so set it as 1, put 1.5, and then the tool will calculate your risk based on 1.5 Bitcoin, not the total margin in your account. Okay, so then you have, these are just the default amounts for each of the instruments. Trade setup market default, so this is if you want it to automatically, well, by default have market order ticked. Trade setup limit stop before market. So what this is a requested feature. It will put a stop limit just before your stop market to try and limit out of your position, like a couple dollars, to try and save you on the fees. Some people may not like this because it might trigger their stop limit and not trigger their stop market if you know, very small. That's very rare of happening, but then you wouldn't you would have got stopped out where you might not have gotten stopped out. But that's a feature if some people want to use that, and that might save them money. Very rarely, I imagine that often you would get stopped out on both of them, exit the position, so your stop market will get triggered before you would get filled. Trade setup confirmation page, if you want to disable or enable the trade setup confirmation page, and then you can change the default amounts for each of these, here. And then we have presets. So this is like, say you have like a scalp settings. You can set up a whole preset for any instrument or any kind of trade that you do. And the difference is that the stop loss is an offset. So you can use it either the dollar value or the percentage of an offset. And you can make as many of these as you want. So say I wanted to set up a new XBT scalp, I'll copy this, put that down like this, and then I would name it here XBT scalp. And then if you want it to show as default as well, then this visible is where you change that. So 1 means it will show as default. If you change it to 0, it won't show as default. And if it's not showing as default, you could enable it by clicking it in here. So we'll put that on there, and then say, let's say my first PT, I like to close 50. So that will, and then we would control save, then we'll refresh, and then we can see here XBT scalp, and there's my PT close at 50 as default. Okay, so now we're going over stop loss move, and this is a really cool feature that's been added to the tool. So to enable, disable it, if you haven't enabled it as default in the config file that we just went over, you can click it in the top right here. It will say stop loss mover process is not running, so we need to get it running. So open up your folder in the www root and find helper. So find helper, double click helper, and this is a previous stop loss, so profit target does not exist. So we have these dots, and that will tell us that it's working and linked up with Bitmex. So we go back to the page here, we'll refresh, and we see stop loss mover process is running. Except we don't have any trades currently, so we can't use it. So let's quickly put in, should we say, let's just use long 7,500. Actually, let's do, so we're long 8,100. We'll do the risk 1.5. These are all fine. We'll put this as 20, 40, and 60. I'll put the stop loss at, should we say, just 8,000 for now. And we'll hit buy. Yep, I'm okay with all this. Quickly put on Mex so you guys can see. There we go. Order successful. We have our stop limits on top of our fill. And we have our stop loss. Let's go back to the tool. So the stop loss mover will recognize the stop limits as profit targets as well. So it doesn't need to be an active profit target. So this is how we're going to use it. So we'll select, so we say, basically what the stop loss mover does is allows you to, once a profit target's been filled, it will move your stop loss to a predefined price as you change it. So for example here, once I get my first profit target 82.60, or if I would like to change my stop loss at 8,000 to break even, so 8,100, I'll hit add, let it load, and there we go. So once our profit target, or if our profit target's hit 82.62, it will sell 1,021, and then it will move our profit, our stop loss up to 8,100. So new stop price on PT fill. If we wanted to delete this one, we change it to 0. There we go. But we can go a step further, and when we get our fill at 84.24, for example, I would like to move the stop loss to 8,200. We can add that in too. Let that load, and there we go. So this will move our stop loss automatically, and I think is really helpful for just basically like AFK trading. You can set up a trade fully in advance and let it do its thing, and it will do the whole. It'll move your stop loss into break even for you. You don't even have to do that yourself. So a really cool feature. Another really cool feature has been added. Alright, so that covers all the features that have been added to the tool. What I'm going to do now is show you guys a sort of a complete trade and how you can automate it. So I'm going to switch over to Bitmex here so you can see what I'm looking at. I'm looking to get laddered in the green area, so I'll set up a ladder order for that with a stop loss in orange, and then I'll set up my targets in white. So first of all, let's go to ladder orders, which I'm doing here in the bottom right. I'm going to use risk, and we're going to use 2%. The start price is 8,012, the end price is 7,860, and the stop loss is 7709. Okay, let's do 15 orders for this. This all looks good to me, so hit buy. Confirmation page, yep, all looks good. The number of contracts is 2,263. So I'm happy with that, so hit buy. Look how quick it is. There we go. Okay, so now we need to put in our profit targets once this is done loading. We can't use reduce only because we haven't been filled on the position yet, so that's one thing to keep in mind. So for the profit targets, I'm going to do 500. I actually have 3, one's a little bit above 9k, so we'll do 500 for each. So 500 at 85.33, sell. There we go. And we'll do 500 at 89.47. So there we go. And then I have one more up at 99.75, so we'll put that one into 99.75, 500. Sell. Awesome. So now what we can do, we can head over to head over to the stop loss mover. I'll switch it back to the tool so you can see this. And we see our profit targets, the sell ones, and we see our entries as well. But we see our profit targets. So for when we hit 85.33, I would like to move my position to in profit, which would be, so once our first profit target is hit, or if it does, move the stop loss up to 8,000. So we can add that in here. And there we go. And then we can say we get our 99.75 profit target. Then let's move the stop loss up to 9,000 on the trade. And there we go. Sorted, fully automated trade. Alright, so that's going to be all from this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this helped you guys with using the tool. If you have any questions, please drop them below, because I'm sure other people will probably have similar questions to you. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. See you guys in the next one. Peace.